I'm going to share with you the magic steps for achieving goals that has worked for me. Now, I'm sure you've heard it a million times from different people how important it is to have goals, set goals, and achieve the goals. And that's all great. But sometimes, even though it's out there a lot, it doesn't hit you just right. And I've heard it a million times. I've heard it to write them down, to do it, and there was just gray areas for me in that. And so sometimes that's why I'm doing this video, because even if it's for my son, it takes the right person to hit you like a ton of bricks. And for me, it was Brian Tracy. And when I heard it from him, the clarity was there and it just smacked me, and then I knew what to do. So the trouble with man is not that they can't achieve a goal. They can do that. They just have a trouble establishing a goal, just like I did. So you got to have three things that are very important. One is imagination, faith, and then you put imagination and faith together, which creates a muscle for action, and action gets it done. So I'm going to share with you how I even set that bar and how I keep track of it and how I get it done. So I've tried many different goal planning sheets. I've tried a lot of stuff, but listening to Brian Tracy definitely cleared things up for me, because he has a special strategy that can simplify this to you and miraculously bring your most important goals to the top. Now for me, I use the 10X planner. The 10X planner is from Grant Cardone, and the reason I like this planner is because there's no dates on it. There's no date at the top. So if I miss a day, I miss a Saturday, a Sunday, it doesn't matter. I can go right back to it and pick up where I left off. Now the way I use this planner may be or may not be the way everybody else uses it. So for me, I write it out, big goals. These are really important. These are the top 7 big goals that I have in life. Okay, and that means that I may want to have properties. I want to make sure that I'm still, giving to my family like I should be. I may want passive income to pay all my bills ultimately in the end. And then it has targets, success, and right goals again. And so the way I categorize it is I categorize it as big goals, super life important goals, my legacy, this is what's going to happen. Imagination's a big player in that. Then I put down 2025 goals. And then on the other side, I put my task. And it could be my task for the week or my task for the month, but these are things that I'm executing. This is what I got to get done. I will put it on that list and I'm going to execute it off. You can do electronic version if you want, but man, when you're writing, your brain's thinking and you start putting it to action. So I use this planner for that because it is amazing. If you got multiple companies, on the back of the planner, I'll put what it's for. So which company it's for, because you may have tasks in different companies, then you may have different tasks in one company than you do in another company. But this is the strategy to getting these goals. Okay, so your big goals. How do you get those big goals? Okay, imagination. Imagination is if you had no limits, if you had all the money in the world, or if you could be or do whatever you wanted to do, what would it be? Would you be a movie star? Would you be an athlete? Would you have millions of dollars? Like, what are these big goals, okay? What do you think that your potential is? Those are big goals. And don't use history to gauge how far you can go, because honestly, if you can think it, you can do it. Like Tony Robbins said, where attention goes, energy flows. And so that's why if you're looking to buy a truck and you're just always thinking about that truck, you figure out a way to get it, right? But that's because that's where your attention's going every day, all the time, and it gets it done. Now, on my short-term goals, like our monthly goals or daily goals, I put down, for me in business, I think of what can I do that can move the business forward today? Should I be going to get the water or a can of spray paint for somebody to spray something in the shop? Or should I be marketing? Or should I be recruiting? Like, how can I impact and move the business forward today? And this is my goal. This is what I'm going to get done. These are the people I'm going to hire. And I execute that upon that short-term goal, because that's going to get me to my big goal. But if you don't think like that, you're not going to move your business forward. And even if it's a life goal, I mean, if you don't go work out, you're not going to get that result that you want at the end of the year, or in 30 to 60 to 90 days, you're not going to get that result if you don't implement that now and start crossing those out. Now, let's get to the strategy. So this is the Brian Tracy strategy. So you write your goals down, and then tomorrow you write down your top 7, 10 goals, and then tomorrow you flip the page, and you write them down again. But you don't look at the day before, because if you look at the day before, it's kind of fell off your mind. Now in the beginning, I did look at the day before, I'm not gonna lie. I looked at the day before and I'm like, okay, that's right, that is a big goal of mine and I do really want that. And then after about 5 or 6 days, I'm like, all right, try to do it by memory. Again, what is so important to me for a big goal? And then you write it down and you write it down, and the next day and you write it down. You're like, okay, I gotta think of 7, I gotta think of 7, I gotta think of 10, and you write it down. And what happens is, the magic that happens is, the goal that's most important to you starts moving to the top of the list. You see, because it's more on your mind and it's more achievable in your mind, and it starts moving up. And then you take those 2 to 3 top goals and you start working on those, because those are the ones that are going to move you the most emotionally, professionally, and financially, are going to make the biggest impact on your life. Remember, our awards in life are going to be in direct proportion to our service. So try this strategy and let me know how it works out for you, because it has definitely worked out for me, and it's definitely cleared up my imagination, my faith, and my goals. And now faith is overcoming a fear. And you overcome that fear and you can see that it's achievable. You look at the things, the small things that you have already achieved in the past. Those should give you faith and self-confidence. And discipline is a huge factor of that. And that's what I try to teach my son. I mean, discipline is everything. If I have the discipline to go in and work out every single morning at 6 a.m., that should give me confidence that I can do anything that I put my mind to, whether it's big or small, because I have proved myself that my mind is stronger than anything else. So I hope this helps you, and I hope it hits you just right, because this is my reality. I was a technician for a long time, and I really didn't have a direction on where I wanted to go. And now I have multiple businesses because I set those goals and started achieving those goals. Brian Tracy is a huge mentor of mine, and I love that man, and I love what he's left us behind. And I hope that I can help someone or leave something behind that makes a difference in their life.